Welcome to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast for week 17, part 1. That sounds neat, part 1 for January 29th of 2024. I am your host, Bruce Gunther. Joining me this evening after an adventurous trip in British Columbia is Devon Davidson.
Hey, Bruce, how you doing, man?
Good, I think.
I
found my show notes, so I think I'm better now. Too many tabs open.
Am I crazy? I mean, I know I'm low on sleep here. Is it the 28th or the 29th right now?
It is the 28th today, so that should say the 29th.
Okay.
So I can't add either. That will add that to my list of things for today. I just can't add either.
It's all good. Okay.
22 plus 7 apparently is 28 in my world. So
okay, with you. I'm with you. I see where you go with that.
Oh, yikes. Yeah. Yikes. Okay. Well, I guess we don't have John tonight.
No John, and it sounds like Tyler's going to join us at some point.
All right. Do you have anybody for the list?
Not any one particular player. I think one thing I was thinking of was all of the other fan bases who are shitting on the Edmonton Oilers win streak.
Oh, yeah. I was reading some of that on Twitter or X, and I'm like, okay, so you're crapping on the Oilers because they are beating teams they should be beating.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is like good call. Like, hey, okay, well, yeah, they're not supposed to lose to Chicago and to Columbus so they're winning. So they've managed to string now 16 games in a row. So why are you shitting on them? Because are they supposed to go and lose to Chicago so you can feel better? Like, I don't know. Like,
great questions, Bruce. I don't know. I didn't dig into it too much, and I don't want to throw shade at a bunch of other fan bases, but I know Vancouver in particular has, really been downplaying this win streak and saying, like whatever. But I think they lost to Columbus during that same time period. It takes, it's like you really can't discredit what they've done, right? It's been an incredible run. Yeah. Fingers crossed they can tie the record against Vegas on February 6th. I believe that's when they play next. But anyway, it's against Las Vegas. So fingers crossed. That would just, to me, that would be almost poetic justice, right? The team that bounced from the playoffs last year, if they can kind of slay some demons and set the or tie the record against Vegas, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that'll give them some motivation, right? With doing it to Vegas, that'd be awesome, right? And then too, we'd hear from the other fan bases, well, hey, they finally beat a playoff team. It's like, well, I kind of looked at it, like I said, it's like, hey, they're beating the teams they're supposed to be beating. Like, there's a few in there. We all kind of looked at the calendar, go, okay, scheduled loss, that they're
100%.
They're not going to, and they've found ways to win those games. So they've strung 16 together now, hopefully 17 here after the All-Star break. And it's, for the first time in a long time, the team actually looks like a solid team. It's not a hodgepodge of ups and downs and all that. So that was good.
Well, I think, what was the number? Was it 14 straight victories, allowing 2 or less goals? Was that the number? Something like that, right?
I didn't see that.
So don't quote me on it, but it's out there in the Twitterverse, wherever you want to look. But it's 12 or 14 games they've gone now, something like that, with 2 or fewer goals allowed. That itself is a pretty incredible stat.
Absolutely. But again, and then if they're playing Chicago and Santa and Columbus and stuff like that, it's they should be doing that, right? That should be how things
you would
should
expect
end
some
up,
of that.
right?
But they've played teams like the Kings, and I know the Kings are on a bit of a skid right now. But back when they played them around Christmas time, that was not an expected win for the Edmonton Oilers at that point, and they won that game in a shootout, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they found ways to shut it down defensively and win some games that maybe you didn't expect them to. And then Stuart Skinner, right, setting the new franchise record for consecutive wins by a goaltender.
That's awesome. I'm happy for Stewie.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the season, I think he was ready just to walk the plank. After the first few games, it's just like, now he's got some confidence. The defense is playing well in front of him, and like
the fans were ready to throw him over the plank, Bruce.
Yeah, walk. This will be an assisted plank. Here you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. No,
they did that to Jack Campbell.
For sure. No, so it's good to see. The only question I have now is, what do they do at the trade deadline? Because I was the one guy beating the drum, and I'm still have my concerns, but a backup goaltender and beefing up the defense. I still think that you could upgrade over Cody Ceci. And I say that because watching these games, I don't know how many you've watched, Bruce, but watching these games,
many, unfortunately,
a lot of turnovers in the defensive zone, a lot of plays die, at least what I've seen, just visually. I'm not quoting any advanced analytics here, but just from what I've visually seen, Cody Ceci turns a lot of pucks over or gets caught in the defensive zone or like scoring chances against, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think more often than not, as the schedule gets tougher and as they're deep into a playoff run, those could be turnovers or scoring chances against that really hurt you, right?
That's the videos the other teams will be watching.
Yeah. So I know it's tough, and who do you get, and what does the acquisition cost look like, and all the rest of it, and do you mess with the chemistry? But the other two pairings look really good. They've been super solid. If you could upgrade Nurse's partner to someone who's just a really, really reliable D-man,
yeah,
that's going to go miles. And then for as good as Calvin Picker's been, do you feel comfortable? Let's say, heaven forbid, Stuart Skinner goes down with an injury. Calvin Pickard is now your starter in the playoffs.
And Jack Campbell would be the backup.
That makes me super nervous. Oh, hold on. We got Tyler here.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, buddy.
There he is. Hey, Tyler.
Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you. Good, good. I panicked for a second.
We can hear you.
We were just talking about the Oilers here, and John's list this week is fans that have been crapping on the Oilers' 16-game win streak, which is garbage. But we want your opinion on this. We're just talking about, do you still feel like we need to upgrade on Ceci and a backup goaltender? And my question to Bruce was, if Stewie goes down for any reason, do you feel comfortable with Calvin Pickard as your starter and Jack Campbell as your backup?
I think I actually would. If Campbell actually has pretty decent numbers right now. I know it's still Jack Campbell, but he's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah.
Pickard has been okay. The biggest thing is that the team is playing a sustainable way of defending and not giving up easy goals. So I would be okay with that. I still think that they need a top six right wing to kind of balance out everything. Yeah. And an upgrade on CC would be good. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they just get a little bit more depth
up front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any concern about messing up the chemistry? That'd be my concern is if you move CC out and bring someone in, is there any chance you kind of mess with things a bit?
No, I don't think so. Not with the leadership on the team. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. You have Kane and Perry there. I don't think, if nothing's happened yet, it's going to happen.
Fair point. And I mean, Knobloch's been brilliant, right? He's really, the systems he's running are working, right? So,
yeah.
Did either of you guys see the stuff from Bob Stauffer that he had sent to Ryan Whitney on Spit and Chicklets? He gave a whole detailed explanation about the defensive zone, and it was really interesting to hear Bob's perspective on it. But of course, it was super long-winded.
I totally missed it.
It was interesting. Just talking about how Vegas was killing them in the playoffs, and part of it was McDavid going up the wall all the time, and just you have to watch it, Bruce. It was like a 3 or 4 minute explanation, but
basically them making fun of Stauffer, which is pretty easy to do.
That's kind of what it was, yeah. But I mean, also just the fact that they're playing a better system, right? It's working.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's more sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean Timbit's hockey defense isn't sustainable?
No.
Swarm?
The Swarm. The Swarm. All right, so we've been rambling a bit here for a couple minutes, Bruce. But anyway, let's move on. Fantasy lock of the week. Who we got?
We have Nikita Kucherov this week. He scored 10 points last week, 4 goals, 6 assists in 4 games. The current NHL leader in points with 85 is on another hot streak, averaging just over 24 minutes a night and 440 on the power play. Those that drafted Mr. Kucherov in the first round have been very happy with his production so far this season. There's one guy behind him 1 point behind. That's Mr. Nathan McKinnon. He's been healthy, so he's he's there, and then the next guy, he's a little ways back though. That would be Mr. McDavid at 67 points.
I think McDavid's fine with that this year.
I would think so. Yeah, 16 game point streak, and they're where they are doing. I would say he's very happy with that. That he doesn't have to light the world on fire in order for everybody for the team to win.
He's got bigger fish to fry, Connor.
Exactly right. As long as they're winning, I think he's very happy if he doesn't get a point here or a point there and things like that.
Yep.
I made honorable mention tonight. Mr. Thomas Hartley, the Dallas Stars defenseman, 6 points, 3 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, including 2 game-winning goals, and 1 was in overtime.
Not too shabby.
I think he's got 14 goals, 12 goals already.
That's insane.
I know.
Hartley?
Yeah.
I think so. I should check. I can look that up real fast because I have him on my fantasy team.
I think it's 12, but it's pretty good at this point in the season.
Pretty good, yeah.
Thomas, where did he go? There he is. 12 goals, 17 assists.
He is second in goals by defensemen, behind only Rasmus Dahlin this year.
That's pretty
That's
good.
incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, tied with Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar.
Some nice company there, right? He just
No kidding. Crazy stuff.
All right. Let us move on to Edge Work. NHL schedule for week 17, part 1. It's a segment where we put in the work to give you the edge for your fantasy hockey leagues. Each week, the hacks will cover the schedule, waiver wire targets, and guide you to victory. So, things you need to know for welcome to week 17, part 1, as we like to call it. For most drafts, at least ESPN and Yahoo, I am not sure about Fantrax. Lump the next 2 weeks together because of the All-Star Game weekend coming up here. So this week we are very light on games. There is a total of 6 games this week. That's a light schedule. So we have games on 1 game on Monday, 2 games on Tuesday, 3 games on Thursday. And boy, I didn't fix that at all, did I? I didn't even put that in there. I just filled everything up below. So there are 3 teams that have 2 games this week. Nashville, Ottawa, and San Jose. San Jose's are a back-to-back. Because there's only 1, 2, and 3 games this week, all the nights are considered light nights. So the teams to fade, I guess, this week would be pretty much, as long as we got Nashville, Ottawa, and San Jose with 2 games. Anaheim, Columbus, Detroit, LA, Seattle, and St. Louis with 1 game. And, the rest of the league is on bye. So those would be the teams to fade this week. So, yikes. That's this is a scheduled L for my team these 2 weeks. I can never manage my way out of a wet paper bag these weeks. So it's a scheduled L for me. I'm probably playing Tyler too this week. That's probably why. I always play Tyler on the bye weeks and I always lose.
You'll lose anyways.
I haven't been doing too bad.
No, I know I lost to Devon, but I did forget to send my lineup twice. So
I'll take it, buddy.
Don't-
I'll take it anyway.
brag
and get
too
it.
much about that one.
No, it was, you know what? I think what was the difference this morning? It was like a 4 or 5 point difference this morning.
Yeah.
But I did grab a couple guys, Shen
I
scored
seen
that.
you. I seen you just reaching for people, and
I was like, someone's going to
"Nah,
score some goals. And you know what?
You go ahead.
Shedder got a goal, and then Ebbs here has 3 points, 2 goals through 2 periods. So he gave me 12.5 points tonight. So that made a big difference. But
I'm playing the long game here, Devin. You go ahead and you take a matchup.
I had some room with the bottom of my roster I could tweak with a little bit there. So
Yeah.
that's okay. Tyler and I are gonna have the same record here right away, so that's kind of nice.
I think I'm winning this week.
I had 6 guys on IR for the last 2 weeks.
You should add some more IR spots to the league, Tyler. Then you wouldn't have to worry about that.
I thought about it, but I also thought that there's probably something I shouldn't do. And then the other thing is it does create movement because people will drop people
Yeah.
if they're hurt.
Yeah.
And then other people can pick him up. If nobody's going to make trades, at least create some movement. It just sucks when you have 6 of your own guys that are hurt that you don't want to drop.
Gotta play the long game. You gotta play the long game, Tyler.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I just gotta hope I don't go to Hawaii and forget to set my lineup for the playoffs.
We're all really pulling for you to go to Hawaii again.
Yeah,
we'll book the flights for you.
We're at least not setting your lineup anyway. All right, let us move on to the waiver wire targets here for Week 17, Part 1. Waiver wire targets will be focused on players that are rostered in roughly 50% or less of Yahoo and Fantrax leagues. When considering players to target, we review recent performance, player deployment, upcoming schedule, and more. So the first one is based solely on schedule. Well, actually, the first 2 are based solely on schedule. That's they only played 2 games this week. So first one we started with was Josh Norris from, I think he plays for Ottawa. I'm not sure why I typed that in there.
He does, in fact, play for the Ottawa Senators. Yes, Bruce.
Yeah. I'm probably going to have to fix the show notes before we post them so they actually have accurate information in them.
Totally fine.
Norris is actually rostered 24% in Yahoo, 72% in Fantrax. Wow, that's a big difference. Wow.
The Dynasty crowd really likes Josh Norris, and the season longers, not so much.
Not so much. It's the shoulder, right?
Yeah.
So 2 games this week versus home in Nashville, away at Detroit. He's currently centering the second line with Matthew Joseph and Mr. Tarasenko. So he is seeing some time, second line, seeing some time on the top power play. 3 points in the last 5 games, which isn't too bad. 1 power play point. As I mentioned before, they've got 1/3 of the games this week, so he's a good streaming option if you need a spot for that. Next one I'll do too, because I typed in that wonderful description, which I promptly made up in about 3 minutes. Gustav Nyquist of the, oh my God, really?
Definitely not that team either, Bruce.
He plays for Nashville. Oh boy, maybe we should just start the week over again. 35% in Yahoo, 67% in Fantrax. They've got 2 games this week too. One at Ottawa, home versus LA. He is playing on the first line with Ryan O'Reilly and Mr. Forsberg. So opportunity is still knocking for Mr. Nyquist. He also has 3 points in his last 5 games. Again, Nashville plays 1/3 of the games this week against 2 beatable opponents. Ottawa is not doing that well, and LA just can't seem to buy a win. They got a loser point today, but they just can't seem to buy a win. And he's still getting great deployment, top line, top power play. So again, if he's available when you need a streamer, he's a good one there. Devon likes this guy, so we'll let Devon talk about the next one.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, I've picked him up and dropped him probably a couple times throughout the season already, but Braden Shen, center left wing eligible for the St. Louis Blues, 49% rostered in Yahoo, 58% in Fantrax. 1 game this week against the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's playing on the second line with Brandon Saad and Jake Neighbors, as well as a role on the second power play unit. He is right now on one of his patented heaters, and just so happens to actually be playing this upcoming week with a matchup, like I said, against a juicy matchup, I guess, against Columbus. 11 points, 5 goals for Shen over his last 10 games, including the game-winning goal in OT against the flailing Los Angeles Kings tonight. So that helped my cause against Tyler, which I'm sure he's not going to like me poking the bear a little bit, but tough. The Blues captain has 14 points and 2 goals in his last 10 regular season games versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So that's something to keep in mind as he plays that team this week.
Very, very nice. You want to take the next one, and then we'll give Tyler the last forward on the list. I think he likes that guy, so we'll let him talk about the last guy on the list.
I think we all love that guy, but yeah, you know what?
Possibly, yes.
Just true to form, I'm going to talk about another player that I just so happened to pick up today. Troy Terry, right wing eligible for the Anaheim Ducks, not the Colorado Avalanche. So that's another another miscue there, but that's okay. He is rostered in
wrong too.
rostered 38% of Yahoo, 75% in Fantrax. He has 1 game this week at home against the San Jose Sharks, so really juicy matchup there. He's playing on the second line with Frank Vetrano and Bo Gruel. Power play 1. He's caught fire lately with 13 points and 5 goals in his last 10 games played. He's now on pace for 62 points over a full 82-game season. over those last 10 contests, Terry is averaging 3 shots on goal per game and playing just shy of 20 minutes a night. He looks a little bit closer to the player that everybody was expecting to draft in
the season,
preseason. And so that's why, I picked him up here. I think I drafted him too a little bit later, but he looks to be doing the things we expected from him. So he played over 21 minutes a few times, I think, in these last 10 games. So he's looked really good that way. And then the shot volume and the production. So it's all good.
Very, very good. Tyler, would you like to talk about our next person?
No. Jordan Eberle, roster's 35%. Plays 1 game this week, playing on the first line with Tatar and McCann. First power play. He's on a heater right now, posting 10 points, 5 goals over his last 8 games. Top line, top power play. Juicy matchup against the Sharks, and they suck. Ebbs is shooting at 33.3% over his last 8 games. Nice. I know that. I think it's just an Edmonton thing where they're talking about adding the top 6 right winger and saying it's him. I just don't think that that's the way that it ended up. You can't bring him back if it doesn't work. Like,
no,
yuck.
I kind of feel like that ship has sailed. Like I love Jordan Eberle, but I don't know. I don't think that's the type of player you want to add.
I think the only way it works is if you plan on playing Draisaitl and McDavid together and having Nugent, Eberle, and Kane on the second line. That's the only way that I think it works, but I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to split up and maybe even the playoffs have Nuge on the third line to have a little bit more depth if you don't get another center.
Yep. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Even though I'd love it.
Well, I think a lot of
we'd all love it.
Could you imagine having Sam Gagner and Jordan Eberle? Still have Nuge here. Like, the fans would go nuts if they could actually pull it off, right? But
yeah.
And
third line would be Sam, Nuge, and Eberle.
They also, like, those guys actually deserve it too.
Yeah.
And they're just missing Hall.
Yeah, bring Halsey back.
And he's kind of hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wouldn't that be so cool though to see him come back for a playoff run like this and score a game winner in the Stanley Cup final or something like that would just be
That'd be the best.
Fantastic.
That'd be the
especially best. Like having those guys and Perry on the team after what happened.
Yes.
It'd be hilarious.
Well, like I said before, I really hope this is the Hossa thing all over again and Perry finally picked the right horse to win a cup.
So if you look at it, the last four out of the last 11 teams to win the Stanley Cup have had 2 win streaks during the season of 8 or more games. Edmonton's now had obviously 2 because they won 8. Now they've won 16.
Yeah.
The last 4, the last one was Colorado in 2022. St. Louis did in 2019. There's 2 other teams there. And then you can go back to, like, I think whenever the Penguins won one of their first ones, I think 94 or something like that. But 4 out of the last 12 or 11 years, teams have had 2 8 or more win streaks. So, I mean, that's something.
That's something. It's a fun stat.
Didn't know that. All right. Let's slide in.
Sorry, Bruce. One other guy. Sorry to interrupt. One other thing I was going to mention too is Ryan McLeod. Since we're talking about the Oilers, I think maybe give that guy some love too here because he's got 12 points in his last 15 games going back to December 21st. 7 goals. Definitely more of a deep league ad, and he's got no points in his last 3 games, but he's looked way better this year, and the production is actually there since December 21st. So something to keep in mind.
For sure. I did not know that. And I'm an Oilers fan. It's too easy watching the Warren Fogle show.
Hey, that actually worked. We recommended Warren Fogle on this podcast last week, and I think he put like 3 points in his next 2 games or something like that. So,
yeah, it's not going to last. It's not going to last.
But we wanted to, Tyler. We wanted to.
I know. But...
McLovin.
All right. Now let's move on to the defense before this really gets out of control. All right. First defenseman on the list is Mr. Scott Perunovic, St. Louis Blues. He is currently rostered, 0 in Yahoo? Really?
According to Frozen Tools, I just checked that like 15 or 20 minutes ago.
0 in Yahoo and 28% in Fantrax. They got one game this week versus Columbus. He is playing with Marco Scandella on the third pair, and he is currently your power play one defenseman for the St. Louis Blues. So if you're looking for a blue liner that can contribute some offense, particularly on the power play, Mr. Perunovich has 5 points over his last 6 games, 4 of which have come with the man advantage. So, well, Falk is still injured, is he not? And, well, Torrey Krug hasn't done much this season.
So just a little update here, too. I missed this, but so he's actually 1% rostered in Yahoo.
1%?
Yep.
1%?
Big difference. But he actually...
It just went up now as we were talking about him.
It must have. He exited the game today against LA, and he had 2 assists, but yeah, he did not return to that game. So right now he's marked as day-to-day, but just keep an eye on that.
All right. I wish we had Ryan here for the next guy, because he could probably talk for the next half an hour on the next guy.
Ryan or Evan would talk for 20 minutes about Ollen Zellweger. Yeah.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Devon. Since you said his name, you can go for it.
Yeah. I mean, well, I said no Drysdale, no Minchikov. Enter rookie Ollen Zellweger, and there hasn't been much offense. He's got 1 power play point through 3 games, but the power play looks to be his. He had 72% power play share against the Wild on Saturday. 3 hits and 5 blocks in his last 3 games, so he looks to have a nice mix of offense and category coverage. I mean, anyone who plays Dynasty is well familiar with Ollen Zellweger. If you're doing season long and you don't really know much about him, he's looked really good. He's basically the power play one guy for right now, and possibly in the future too. So,
was he not leading the AHL in scoring by defense or something like that too?
I can look that up. Yeah,
I know he was up there. He's a perfect replacement for Drysdale. He's going to be way better than Drysdale.
Yep.
Did you see the video of so it was a puck retrieval that he did where the opposition player was coming in to give him a hit, and he just kind of did this nifty little move. He pulled the puck away, and the opposition guy went slamming face first into the boards, and he rounded the net, and he was gone the other way.
It was a great trade to like move on from Drysdale and bring in a Gauthier when you have that kind of a replacement that can just step right in.
Yeah. I got a couple of clips on my Twitter or X feed about just one was that puck retrieval, and then another one was a sequence that they're showing, and he's just he does not look out of place at all out there at all.
So this is according to Quant Hockey. I'm just looking at D-man stats for the AHL. Brent Clark currently is leading AHL defenseman in scoring with 32 points in 30 games and 7 goals. Then it's Matt Donovan, Mac Hollowell, Jacob Christensen. Who else is in here? Derek Pouliot, 28 points. Ty Smith, 28 points.
Maybe he wasn't leading, but he was up there.
So you know what? He's tied for 15th here. 25 points in 34 games played.
Productive on a entry level.
Yeah,
as a rookie and undersized too.
He'll do well for sure.
For sure.
Brent Clark, just a monster. If that guy gets any ice time,
I hope he doesn't. I hate LA so much.
Yeah, I'm with you. But
he didn't play today.
There you go.
He was a healthy scratch today.
Did they win?
No, they lost in overtime.
I know.
Typical McClellan. Hey, like he just hates rookies. He's gonna play veteran players all day, every day.
I hate the Batman point too, because Edmonton doesn't have any. But if you look, like, I think they have 9 overtime games. LA, something like that.
They shouldn't even be close to Edmonton.
No, and like the winning percentage is so drastically different, but it's these overtime points, and there's so many teams that are only in it based on being in overtime and losing.
I know. I hate it. It kills me. They got to change it. It doesn't make any sense. Every year there's examples of it.
Yeah. And I know that it keeps the standings closer, but you still see the teams that are winning more in regulation are always at the top than teams that lose in overtime.
Like Vegas actually only has 22 regulation wins.
Yeah.
Edmonton has 24.
And four games in hand, 5 games in hand.
5 games in hand. Our point percentage is better. Like there's a whole slew of reasons why we should be sitting in second, really. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I like. Oh, yeah. But Devon will never get rid of the loser point because it makes everything more competitive. If they went to a 3-2 and who was it? Somebody actually.
Yeah, I seen that.
For last season, actually did the conversion. If they went on 3-2 and 1, and there wasn't a whole lot of difference. There were some gaps that got widened, but in terms of teams in playoffs and that, it wasn't actually. I don't think there was any difference.
I don't know, I'm just looking at LA. Like if they lost those 10 loser points, they're at 44 points right now, as opposed to Edmonton to be at 58.
That's a big difference.
And Seattle will be at 40 points as opposed to Edmonton's 58. So it's like, it's a big difference, right? Like I get it. They're keeping the playoff run close right until the end of the season by doing it, but it's annoying.
Play for the loser point. Right? Maybe that's the only reason why McClellan still has a job is all the loser points.
Could be.
Yeah. I think Rob Blake's a little bit like Ron Francis where he doesn't want to make a move. But I mean, they keep losing. It's gonna be interesting.
They keep losing. Doughty did his thing in the media, and it still didn't make any difference.
That's the thing. Like, if Tom McClellan's gonna come out and say things like, "We played dumb," and these plays were dumb, we're idiots, or whatever he said, and then Doughty comes out and says what he says, and then they lose the next 2 games after. That's not a good look.
No.
Well, we love that look, actually, Tyler, on this podcast.
No, I mean, it's a beautiful look, but like generally it's a bad look.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes. All right. Let us move on to goaltenders. Tyler, you want to talk about the goaltender?
Sure. Joonas Korpisalo, his last start was not very good. I think he gave up a couple to Colorado.
No, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for this one.
Yeah. Only 6 games in the first week of week 17. Ottawa has 2 of them. Korpisalo has not been great this season, but both games are winnable, hypothetically. And he should start both of them. That's just a weird team.
Yeah. On paper, you think that team should do really, really well, but they just can't seem to get out of their own way either.
And if they would have hired a coach, a real coach that wasn't just going to be there till the end of the year, they probably would be climbing up the standings, but it's just a very, very odd choice.
Well, too, and so that whole thing with that trade of, no, they lost their first round pick because of, what was it again?
Pretending to trade somebody that they didn't trade, or didn't ask him if he wanted to be traded, or didn't tell Vegas that he had.
That was Dadonov. Dadonov, that's it. Yeah. It's like, so yeah, this would be a terrible time to tank because it's gonna like you're gonna lose a really good draft pick. Like, at least if you were winning and it was like in the 20s, it wouldn't be that bad. But cripes, they're gonna be top 5 right away. And that's a terrible one to lose.
Whoops.
I think too, when you have all those guys signed to 7 and 8 year contracts out of entry level, and then hire the coach that they did, they're a mess. It's an odd situation there.
Yeah.
Tyler, who would you put in there to clean up that disaster?
Woodcroft.
Woody.
Yeah.
Really, like with Steos there, like young players, like the system I think would work really well for the players that they have there. If it wasn't going to be him and he wanted to kind of wait till the offseason to see where everything was going to line up, Gallant would have been really good because he kind of has a track record of coming in, and he doesn't have a long shelf life, but Bruce Boudreau would be good too. There's tons of options out there. I don't think like the old guy that was just brought on as a whatever
Filler?
it was brought on
It's
as,
an interesting
and then-
decision, that's for sure.
and then moved into there. So odd.
Yeah, it was weird. It was really, really weird.
Some other options here, Bruce.
Yeah.
Probably
So
we mentioned Anaheim, right? I mean,
Yep.
no guarantees there, but they play San Jose, so probably either John Gibson or Lucas Stossel, whoever starts that game. I just checked.
Be good for a spot start.
Yep. And then Alex Lyon is 60% rostered, so still a possibility he's available against Ottawa on Wednesday. That's a home game for them. And then Joel Hofer on Tuesday against Columbus, if he does get the start there. No guarantees he does, but he's been pretty solid here recently too. So
Good stuff.
posted 3 quality starts in his last 3 appearances.
Very, very nice. Do we have anything else?
That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all. So that's it for the show this week.
That's it.
Stay tuned to next week for week 17, part 2.
Next Sunday.
Oh, boy.
Next Sunday.
Part 2. There's a few more games next week, so it'll feel a little better. You can find us on Twitter or X at FHHacks, on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks. Don't forget to check out our live show, Hacks Hangout, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Time on EdmontonSportsTalk.com and on YouTube.com/heavyhockey. That is it for us tonight. Have a good evening.
Take care, guys.
See you guys.